Good morning, Codger Biker here, and is it time to talk about Wolfgang?
Yes, let's talk about me.
Yeah, okay, I've had Wolfgang for over a year now. Not really a year's riding because of all the lockdowns, COVID and all the rest of it, but he's just had his annual service, which brings me on to the first thing about KTM servicing, which annoys me, that you no longer get a service book, you have to look online. My car's the same, and of course only the dealership have access to the KTM computers to update your service details. You can check them with your VIN number, but it's a bit annoying. After 2 years I suppose you can take it where you like, but you know, you need to keep a record of everything. There's no book. Second annoying thing, sorry Wolfgang, I'm getting these out of the way.
You're hurting my feelings.
Yeah, well, fuel cap, I hate it. It's got a lock on it, so you put the ignition key in it, fair enough, you don't need a separate key, but the flap goes towards the front of the bike, so it traps your hand in there if you've got anything on the back rack or anything. So I know we've had fuel shortages in real pain in the arse. Be easier if the flap went the other way, but I don't think we're back to the full-on 70s robbing fuel, are we? So I don't think I need a lock-in fuel cap, and I think most people quite sensibly just change it, and I'm going to be doing the same at some point. Vanacci, or I saw some Chinese ones on eBay, I think that'll do. They use the OEM sealing ring. So that's two negative things that I've got to say straight away. Third negative thing, I didn't like the nuclear bomb exhaust pipe that was on it. Which is well known, so that's been changed for a wings, which is beautiful, and with the wings silent kit made by Gorads, fantastic. Transform the bike. It's a high bike, so as you know, or you may know, you follow the channel, bought it. I've lowered it with a Cuba link and a lower seat. Now the bike's so light that I could actually get away with it as stock. It wasn't really a problem, but just if you're off-road and you're in the middle of nowhere, I like to minimise the chance of dropping it. The beauty of this bike is, though, if you do drop it, easy to pick up. So looking at the bike then, as it stands, you can see that I've ADV'd it in my own inimitable way to suit me. Now the bike's still lightweight, weighs about 170 kilograms, fully fueled, and even when I put my luggage on it, it only goes up to about 180, so you can pick it up even though it's a tall bike, and the fuel tank's low down under the seat, so it never really feels top heavy despite its sort of slim width and height. As I say, I've got a Cuba link on mine which dropped it by 25mm I think, and then I've got the Seats Concept low seat on it, which I think dropped it by another 15mm also, so around about 2 inches lower. I've got lower foot pegs on. I'll put the names of all these things on as I go on. There are videos for all these things anyway. If you follow my channel you'll know. One thing I didn't like about this bike, or another thing besides that fuel cap which I hate on that original exhaust, look at my beautiful wings, is I don't like tubed tyres. I know it's traditional on enduro bikes, but I swapped those for a tubeless system. There's a video on that of course, and it's already paid off, because the day before I had to travel 60 miles to go and get the bike serviced. I went outside, there was a screw in the tyre. I live in the city, it's very common, and it had gone through the tread there, but 2 dyno plugs, which seems to be optimal, and it stayed up. I've done 140 miles on that so far. I was going to rush and get it changed, but I think what I'm going to do, because I've got no long distance journeys planned at the moment, I'm going to leave them in for a bit and see how many miles I can do and see if it goes down. I carry a compressor in here, so I do carry one of those battery compressor things. I can pump it up at any time. Well, I'm having a better day than him. Guy pulled up there is obviously been muck spreading. He's covered in it. I'm not putting his face on, poor guy. He was absolutely covered in excrement. Oh, so anyway, as I was saying, I did have a puncture. Now, if I'd had tube tyres, because I only discovered it the day I had to go to Wales, that would have been me stuffed. I'd have had to cancel the service, which I'd booked 3 months before, because you couldn't get a service. Well, thanks to having tubeless tyres and the ability to repair them, I was able to sort it out. So as far as I'm concerned, if you're going to be travelling on the road, which I have to, you need tubeless tyres. So expensive to do, but it's paid off. And I'm just going to see how many miles I can get with these with a double dyno plug fixing. Now for next year, when I get to here we go, it's a police. Oh, right, next year when I decide to do some longer trips, I will take it in and have it plugged, or if it starts to deflate over the winter, I'll go and have it plugged. But for now, just as an experiment, because I'm not going to be doing any long miles, I don't think, I want to see how long these dyno plugs can last, because I think they claim to be a permanent fix, and it was almost the perfect position for plugging with one of those. It was in the middle, it was deep in the tread, so I have to say, so far 150 miles or so, it's not lost a 1 psi. So continuing the things in no particular order, I don't like the side stand on this bike. It's very difficult to put down. It's just quite a sweep on it and catches on things. That's a shortened side stand because I lowered the bike, but it hasn't really made any difference. What has helped is putting a foot on it. Without that, it'd be very difficult. I fitted these crash bars, Outback Motor Tech. I still don't know whether I like them or not. The idea is, I think, to protect the radiator if it goes over. Have gone over once, didn't actually hit those, so that was good. I do find them quite useful for checking the oil level, because you can hold the bike by them and look at the oil, which is good. That's one good thing. So they are quite useful for that, and haven't taken them off yet, although that could happen. So where was I? Yeah, tubeless tyres, very useful. Got the pump to pump them up if they go down. It's quick and fast to plug them. John and I have both had punctures in the last couple of months. We've plugged both of them quite easily. Though I do find that I think 2 dyno plugs works better than one. One will stop it going down fast, but it still seems to go down a little bit. But with 2, it's been rock solid. I think basically because the dyno plug is no wider than the tool, and the tool makes the hole bigger a little bit. Yeah, so of course the headlights, very good from the garage headlights. They're LED, very bright, very good at night. I don't ride much at night, but when I've used them, they've been brilliant, literally brilliant. I've got flip out mirrors, which I quite like, and prove they work when I drop the bike on the Isle of Man, because you ride off road, I just flip them up out of the way like so. On the motorway you can put them right out like that, so you can really see behind. Generally I have them there. That seems to work. One thing about the mirrors for motovlogging is they're not brilliant for checking your cameras on when you're riding. They're okay when you stop. I do miss the larger mirrors from that point of view. I always buy Paramoto luggage racks. I've got Paramoto luggage rack, Paramoto heel guard, used in conjunction with Krieger saddlebags, as recommended by Paramoto. The guy rides these bikes himself. He knows what he's doing. I prefer to use his stuff because he's a 690 owner and rider, and respected, I think, for it. He produces other kits for strengthening the subframe, etc., which I haven't bothered to do yet. So I've got the standard bash plate on it. I felt no need to change that. Got a few rocks bashed against it on the Isle of Man. Seems to have taken it okay. Yeah, though the bike's lightweight, it's still fine on the motorway. It's about 180 kilograms with all the gear on it, and me on it. It's probably about the same weight as an Africa Twin unloaded, about 250, 260 kilograms. So it's just about the minimum weight you can get away with on a motorway full of trucks and lorries and things. It doesn't get blown around too much. The screen helps a little bit with keeping the wind off your shoulders, so you can trundle along at 80 miles an hour all day really. I mean, it's no GS obviously, but as a compromise it's about as good as it gets, I think, for me anyway. One issue with these bikes that has been known about for years and has finally been addressed is the clutch slave cylinder. I changed mine for an Oberon. There's a video on the channel for that. When it went in for a service last week, they did a recall and wanted to put in the new KTM one. I told them not to bother. I'm still wondering whether I'd made the right decision, but I know the Oberon works. I don't know whether the KTM replacement would work, and you don't want that clutch to fail in the middle of nowhere. On the plus side, I have to say, having a hydraulic clutch is fantastic. So nice to feather, so light. It's a really, really nice clutch to use. When I was on the Isle of Man, going on about the gearbox, going up steep off-road sections, I did feel that I wouldn't have minded a slightly lower first gear. I know people change the sprockets and things, but I also want to go on the motorway, so I don't really want to lose the sixth gear for top. So having a good clutch that you can feather, and using, you know, good clutch control, which you can on this bike, kind of compensates for that. And I find the optimum speed of first gear for this up a 45-degree incline is about 14 miles an hour. Just seems to chug along, no problem whatsoever, and handles it. That's for me, my weight with the gear I'd got on. 14 miles an hour seemed to be optimum in first. Haven't done the tail tidy. I've been stopped by the police twice to check my number plate, so I've decided to leave it alone and give them an excuse to I don't know, give me a fine. So UK number plates aren't very good. They're huge, blow around in the wind, but that's what we're stuck with. That's the law. One thing I've noticed, when the bike's cold, if it's in gear and you pull the clutch in, the oil drags too much to move the bike. You can't move it, which is unusual. I don't know whether that's just mine. When it warms up, it's fine. Yeah, I really like having the quick shift. I wouldn't have a bike without a quick shift now. I like it for blasting away in the traffic, particularly in the city. You can just get away from any trouble. It's also very useful if you're going downhill in tough terrain. You want to take your hands off the bars, you can just drop it a gear. Works very well. Probably not the slickest in the world, but it's fine for what it does. So you can see one thing I did was, when I fitted the raid fairing, I fitted the indicators in the bark busters because I didn't really want to drill holes in here. I found this has been a good solution, plus it makes it easy to take the fairing on and off, which you may have seen the other day when I added the USB voltmeter. It's so quick to take off if you haven't got the indicators to unplug as well as the headlight. Yeah, for the fuel range I get 170 miles consistently if I'm riding on an off-road mixture. If I was riding off-road all day, of course you wouldn't get that. You'd get fewer miles than that if you were in first gear riding all day, obviously. But on normal mixed riding I get 170 miles till the fuel light comes on, and there's consistently 2.5 litres left in the tank, which appears to be the reserve. So I find that's been enough for me. I don't feel the need to add an extra tank or storage unit or anything, and I prefer to keep the stock air filter. So I've left all that as it is. I haven't bothered with any of the removing canisters and things that people do. I don't feel the need. I just leave it as it is. It's good enough for me. And the bike's still under warranty, so as much as possible try to keep it in warranty. The engine, superb, single cylinder. It's got vibrations as you'd expect with a single cylinder, but nothing like the old ones. It's got counter shaft and it's plenty smooth enough. If you grip the handlebars tight and do 200 miles, you will have tingly fingers, but if you just relax, because I've tried it, you won't. So but I think you get tingly fingers on any bike if you grip it with a death grip. And also it's an engine that's been in development for so many years that most of the issues, hopefully touching wood, have been resolved with it. I know there was a rocker bearing issue. I think that's been solved on these later engines. At least I hope it has. But I think even that was, you know, after sort of 10-15,000 miles, something like that, that they would need to be changed. Obviously it needs the valves doing every 6,000 miles, which is a bit of an issue, I suppose. if you do long distances, but I'm not doing long distances at the moment. So anyway, that's Wolfgang. He's my 690. I'm very, very pleased with him. Usually this time of the year I'm looking for another bike. Guess what? I'm keeping him. Who'd have thought? So yeah, that tells you really he's everything I want, and the perfect bike for me. Might not be for you, obviously, we're all different, but for me, for what I want to do at the moment in my life, at my age, with my dodgy hip, Wolfgang KTM 690 Enduro R / ADV, the perfect bike for me. Of course, I've forgotten to mention the heated grips which I've fitted, which are these Cosso ones with integrated button. I just think they're much neater. I really like them. So all in all then, how would I describe this bike? Is it a unicorn? Hate that term. Not really. Wouldn't suit everybody for a start. But with my integrated heated grips, my mirrors, everything on the tower that I require, seat height reduced, tubeless tyres, enough power for me to enjoy it and to get myself into trouble if I want to. Paramotor luggage gear, the wings exhaust with the silencer kit. It's the perfect bike for me. Or let's say the best I've found so far, and I always look, as you probably know. And on that note, thank you Wolfgang for a wonderful 14 months. I'd like to thank Wolfgang and say Codge Biker is out.
We're out.
Thanks Wolfgang. Let's go. So it's a great bike for riding. You can ride on the motorway, you can ride in the city, you can ride in the fields and on the beaches. You can ride wherever you like. Wolfgang von KTM 690R. As versatile as an egg. What? What are you talking about? I love this bike.